onto Da-young while
This is
mocking
how to
Vice
make
President and for hiding her
explosion.
status as a single mother. He pushed Da-young,
Wait,
causing her to fall,
first
and muttered about her carrying birth control
oh
pills while
god,
pretending to be innocent.
start.
Unable to
Yeah,
take it anymore, Vice President and
relaunch.
punched Chief
Yeah,
Dew in the face,
start.
grabbed his collar, and yelled,
Na
"You
click
scumbag,
that
who do you
and
think you
it
are to
will
look down
actually
on women?
start.
Why should I hide the fact that I have a child? Why do I have to try so hard? You trash like you. Who gives you the right to laugh at me?" The next day, Da-young was awakened by
God.
So-mai. Due to drinking, she
There
had
we
no
go.
memory of what
Now
happened
it
last
could
night.
be open.
So-mai told her that it was
Okay,
Jae-woon
now
and Vice
the
President
problem
and who took
is
her home.
getting
Not only was
started.
Jae-woon physically assaulted by
Again.
Vice President and, but he also stood looking at her for a long time before finally leaving. Jae-young arrived at the office and noticed the tense atmosphere among her colleagues. Vice
That's not what I
President
want.
and
I
the
want
team
the
leader were in
explosion.
conversation. A male colleague was describing the scene they witnessed
Let's
last
get
night.
upgraded.
Not only had Vice President and physically
First,
assaulted a
instead
client
of
company's
this,
chief Dew,
let's
but her
just do
status
it.
as a single mother was also exposed. After hearing her colleague's account, Da-young remembered the events and realized Vice President and had stepped in to teach the scumbag a lesson in order to help her. The team leader demanded that Vice President and go to the client company and kneel down to apologize. Not willing to bow her head to that scumbag, Vice President and angrily submitted her resignation. Da-young blamed herself for getting Vice President into trouble, vowing to make Chief Yu apologize so Vice President and would come back to work. Vice President and advised her not to escalate the matter. Right now, the most important thing for Da-young was to be hired as a permanent employee. Da-young asked Vice President and why she resorted to physical violence, but Vice President and told her to go ask Jae-woon herself. Meanwhile, on her way home, Sang-a received money transfers from 3 friends. Though the amount wasn't much, her friends wanted to chip in and help her out. Sang-a was deeply touched by her friends' generosity. Knowing everyone was having a tough time, she refused the money. Instead, she sold her designer clothes and handbags. After taking care of these matters, she took the factory manager to see Lawyer Kwon for help. Sang-a apologized to Lawyer Kwon, explaining that she had been hiding the company's difficulties since they met, and now she was sharing everything, hoping Lawyer Kwon would help them recover the money owed. Lawyer Kwon agreed, also happy that Sang-a had been honest with him. Their relationship had grown much closer. Sang-a's issue has been resolved. Everyone gathered to figure out a way to help Da-young with her problem. Jae-woon
Oh
checked the
god.
surveillance cameras at the scene,
I hate
but it was
this
a blind
way.
spot, and it didn't capture the section
I
chief
hate
pouring
to
milk for
destroy
Da-young.
it.
Da-young was both the victim and the only witness, but she was too drunk that night, making her testimony unconvincing. Da-young decided to find another way, forcing the section chief to speak up himself. After discussing a solution, Jae-woon scheduled a private meeting with Da-young.
We need
Jae-woon formally
surgical.
apologized to Da-young for the kiss that night. He said that as soon as he received Da-young's text, he remembered what had happened. Da-young didn't need him to apologize because when he kissed her, she didn't pull away. She had fallen in love with him without realizing it. Before deciding whether or not to accept Jae-woon's feelings, Jae-woon shared his story with her. Jae-woon used to be a bank employee in charge of evaluating loan applications. Once, the owner of a small to medium enterprise came to borrow money because he was experiencing business difficulties. He should have been able to get the loan, but there was a minor detail that didn't meet the requirements. The man begged Jae-woon to be lenient, saying that if he didn't get the money, he and his 50 employees would starve. Looking back, Jae-woon thought that if it were someone else, they probably would have approved the loan. But at the time, he insisted on adhering to the company's rules, even the smallest of regulations. His refusal led to the man's company going bankrupt. The man couldn't handle the shock and left his wife and children and hometown. Jae-woon attended the funeral, but was blamed by the man's family for causing the tragedy. Jae-woon was caught in a cycle of self-blame from which he couldn't escape. Finally, unable to bear the immense psychological pressure, he stood on a bridge. It was then that So-hee entered his life. She said if he didn't want to live anymore, she would go with him. Until now, Jae-woon still vividly remembers So-hee that night, her hair blowing in the wind, her face flushed from being drunk, a cigarette in her hand. So-hee scolded him. Don't just go like that, nobody cares, and advised him to be sober in this cruel world. Persuaded by So-hee, Jae-woon abandoned his foolish thoughts and went home with her. So he told him to find somewhere to sleep in the messy room and then left. The next morning, when So-hee returned, she found that Jae-woon had cleaned the house and kept him there. That's how they ended up living together. Later, they moved to Jae-woon's house. Jae-woon remembered that while So-hee wasn't good at cleaning, she was a warm and bright person. During the time he spent with So-hee, he felt like he had been reborn. So-hee was his savior and his emotional anchor. However, one day, So-hee left without saying goodbye, leaving him only one watch from their matching set. After So-hee left, Jae-woon became indifferent again until the director approached him, and they started a household services company together. For the past 5 years, Jae-woon has always dreamed of So-hee leaving him and often wakes up in the middle of the night. It wasn't until he finished cleaning the room for Da-young that those nightmares stopped haunting him. The night he kissed Da-young, he dreamed of So-hee again. Jae-woon believes that was the last time So-hee came to say goodbye. Jae-woon has decided to let go of the obsession he's had for so long and end things with So-hee, but he needs time. He hopes Da-young can wait for him. Da-young saying she's willing to wait for the last